What is the largest charity on Earth? You might think of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Red Cross, or UNICEF. But technically, according to legal structures, one of the biggest tax-exempt nonprofit organizations in the world is IKEA. Yes, the company that sells you cheap coffee tables, Swedish meatballs, and confusing assembly manuals is legally designed as a massive charitable entity tucked away in Europe. But this isn't because they are trying to save the world. It's because they engineered the ultimate corporate loophole. IKEA is a global empire. They operate hundreds of massive stores across dozens of countries, generating tens of billions of dollars every year. Yet, behind the friendly, affordable Scandinavian branding lies a deeply secretive, hyper-calculated business model that completely flipped global retail on its head. Today, we are looking inside the hidden architecture of IKEA, from a psychological trap designed into their store floors to the genius packaging trick that saved them billions. This is how a Swedish farm boy built a corporate labyrinth that no government can touch. To understand IKEA's success, you first have to understand what happens to your brain the moment you walk through their doors. Most retail stores are designed for efficiency. You walk in, find the aisle, grab your item, and leave. IKEA did the exact opposite. They created the long, natural path. It is a psychological maze. The pathway forces you to walk through every single department, exposing you to thousands of items you never intended to buy. Because the path turns every 15 meters, you constantly see new, curated lifestyles. Psychologists call this the Gruen effect. The overwhelming environment causes you to lose track of time and spatial awareness, making your brain highly susceptible to impulse buying. And just when you start to feel tired and overwhelmed by the maze, you hit the marketplace. Here, they place massive bins filled with dirt-cheap products, $3 clocks, $1 glasses. Your brain calculates that these are incredible deals, so you start throwing them into your yellow bag. By the time you reach the warehouse, you've spent $100 on things you didn't even know existed 20 minutes ago. But layout psychology only drives sales. The real genius of IKEA is how they cut costs. In 1956, an IKEA draftsman named Gillis Lundgren was trying to fit a large wooden table into the back of his car. It wouldn't fit. Frustrated, he looked at the table and said, "We need to take the legs off." That single sentence birthed the flat pack revolution. Before IKEA, furniture was shipped fully assembled. This meant factories were mostly shipping air. Air is incredibly expensive to transport. By disassembling the furniture and packing it perfectly flat into cardboard boxes, IKEA completely revolutionized global shipping logistics. They could fit 10 times more inventory into a single shipping container. This slashed fuel costs, warehouse storage costs, and manufacturing expenses. But IKEA didn't just save money on shipping. They did something even more brilliant. They outsourced the final manufacturing labor to you, the customer. When you buy from IKEA, you act as their delivery driver and their factory assembly line. And psychologically, this creates what behavioral economists call the IKEA effect. When you spend 3 hours sweating and crying while assembling a wardrobe, you actually value that piece of furniture more because of the labor you invested into it. You build a psychological bond with a cheap piece of particle board. As IKEA grew into a global juggernaut, its founder, Ingvar Kamprad, became obsessed with a new challenge: protecting his empire from taxes and hostile takeovers. He wanted IKEA to live forever, entirely untouchable by governments. So, in the 1980s, he designed a corporate structure so complex it makes your head spin. IKEA is not one single company. The operations are split. The actual stores are owned by a company called INGK Holding, but that company is owned by a Dutch nonprofit organization called the Inga Foundation. Because it's technically a foundation dedicated to innovation in architecture and interior design, it enjoys massive tax exemptions in Europe. Meanwhile, the actual intellectual property, the trademark, the brand name, and the secret designs, is owned by a completely separate company in Luxembourg, which is controlled by a secret trust in Liechtenstein. Every single IKEA store in the world has to pay a 3% franchise fee to this secret entity just to use the name IKEA. Through this intricate web of foundations, franchise fees, and royalty payments, IKEA legally shifts its massive retail profits to low-tax havens. It is a masterpiece of corporate engineering designed to keep billions of dollars completely safe from tax authorities. To maintain its position as the king of affordability, IKEA consumes a staggering amount of resources. They use approximately 1% of the world's entire commercial wood supply every single year. To keep prices low, their design process is completely inverted. Traditional companies design a product, calculate the cost of materials and labor, and then set a price. IKEA does the exact opposite. They start with the price tag. A designer is told, design a coffee table that costs exactly $19.99. The designer must then figure out how to use the absolute minimum amount of material, the cheapest wood composites, and the most efficient flat pack dimensions to hit that exact target. It is a brutal, relentless engineering challenge focused entirely on margins. The next time you walk through the sliding glass doors of an IKEA store, look past the bright colors and the cheap prices. You are stepping inside one of the most perfectly optimized systems ever built by human hands. From the twisted paths of the showroom to the invisible foundations holding their billions, IKEA proved that the best way to conquer the global market isn't just to sell a product, it's to reinvent the very rules of the game. If you found this deep dive into the hidden mechanics of IKEA fascinating, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, what is the most frustrating piece of furniture you've ever had to assemble? See you in the next video.